Ladies and gentlemen, see, when people walk out of your life, let them go. Stop chasing. Stop explaining. Stop waiting for closure you ain't never gonna get. That's dead weight, baby. And you were built to fly, not carry folks who don't know your value. Too many people waste their energy running after someone who already showed you they're not choosing you. Let's be real about it. You keep texting, calling, hoping they'll reply, hoping they'll change, hoping they'll wake up and see what you're worth. But here's the truth. When you have to chase something, that means it's running from you. And baby, anything that runs from you is not meant to be held by you. Chasing someone is the clearest sign that you're moving out of alignment with your worth. You weren't created to beg for love, to convince someone to stay, to try and be enough. For someone who's emotionally unavailable or inconsistent, that ain't your job. Your job is to stand tall in who you are and keep growing, keep healing, keep elevating until the right ones recognize the value you bring and meet you at your level, not from behind. See, when you chase, you start to shrink. You start molding yourself to fit into somebody else's world instead of building your own. You start thinking, if I do this differently, maybe they'll like me more. Or maybe if I look better, act different, hold back, be less. No, don't ever water yourself down to quench someone else's thirst. That's not love, that's desperation. And here's something else you need to hear. The person you're chasing might not even be capable of receiving real love right now. You're trying to offer gold to someone who's only ever played with stones. You're offering stability to someone who feeds off drama. So you end up exhausted, confused, and empty, wondering why nothing you give is enough. It's because you're giving to someone who can't receive. That's why I say stop chasing. It's not just about letting go of that person. It's about reclaiming yourself. It's about turning all that energy you've been pouring into someone else and redirecting it into you. Every minute you spend trying to get someone's attention is a minute you could have spent building your peace, your purpose, your self-worth. Start becoming. Become the version of you that doesn't need to chase love because you are love. Become the version that is focused on growth, not games. The version that knows their value and doesn't wait for someone else to validate it. That person you want to be, that confident, healed, joyful version of you. You don't get there by chasing someone else. You get there by choosing yourself. When you focus on becoming, you move differently. You stop reacting to silence. You stop getting triggered by someone pulling away. You stop needing closure. You don't run after explanations. You say, if you couldn't value me, then that's all I need to know. You detach not because you're cold, but because you're wise. People always talk about manifestation like it's some mystical thing, but let me break it down for you. When you become what you desire, you start attracting what's meant for you. That's it. When you become peace, you attract peace. When you become love, you attract real love. When you become confident, the whole room feels your presence without you needing to say a word. That's why becoming is more powerful than chasing, because chasing is about trying to get something, but becoming is about embodying something. It's internal, it's permanent, and it's something nobody can take from you. This world will always try to distract you. Social media will show you pictures of happy couples, make you question your worth. You'll see people move on fast, and you'll wonder why you're still hurting. But remember, this healing isn't a race. Becoming isn't a competition. It's a journey. And every step you take back toward yourself is a victory. You weren't put here to run after people. You were put here to rise. And the moment you stop chasing and start becoming, everything in your life shifts. Your peace returns. Your glow comes back. You wake up excited for the day, not anxious over a message that never came. You walk into rooms with your head high because you really know, you don't need anyone to complete you. They missed out. That's their loss. You're not stuck. You're not unlovable. You're not broken. You're just being redirected back to yourself. And the moment you choose you, that's when everything starts to change. That's the part nobody wants to hear. Everybody wants the results. Everybody wants the glow up, the healing, the peace, the success, but they don't want the process. And let me tell you, the process hurts. Growth don't feel good while it's happening. It's uncomfortable. It's lonely. It stretches you. It breaks you down so it can build you back up stronger. Think about it. A seed has to be buried in the dirt before it can sprout. It has to push through darkness, through pressure, through struggle just to see the light. That seed doesn't complain. It doesn't ask, why me? It just grows quietly, steadily. And when it finally breaks the surface, nobody sees everything it went through to get there. That's you. That's what pain does. It pushes you through the soil of life so you can rise. People think pain is punishment, but it's not. It's preparation. It's pruning. It's God's way of removing what you don't need so he can replace it with what you do. Sometimes you lose people, not because you did something wrong, but because their season in your life is over. Sometimes your heart breaks, not because you were weak, but because you were too strong to keep holding on to something that was draining you. You ever notice how we never grow in comfort? Nobody ever evolved while everything was easy. Comfort creates complacency. You stay in that relationship that ain't feeding you just because it's familiar. You keep that job that's draining your soul because it's safe. But growth demands risk. Growth demands pain. It demands that you step into the unknown, that you walk away from what's familiar and trust the process, even when it hurts. And listen, pain doesn't just come from loss. It comes from truth. The moment you realize you've been tolerating less than you deserve, that's painful. The moment you see how much you gave to people who wouldn't even give you honesty, that's painful. The moment you decide to break a cycle that's been running your life for years, oh yeah, that's pain too. Because healing ain't just crying and journaling. Healing is confrontation. It's accountability. It's having the courage to look at your life and say, this can't continue. But that pain is sacred. That pain is your teacher. That pain is showing you exactly where the work needs to be done. It's revealing the wound so you can clean it, so you can heal it. That's why it hurts. Not because you're broken, but because your spirit is shifting. Your mind is renewing. Your soul is shedding the weight of who you no longer are. You don't grow when everything goes right. You grow when you get tested, when life hits you and you have to decide whether you're going to let it break you or build you. That's the moment of transformation. And no, it don't come with applause. It don't come with comfort. It comes with silent nights. It comes with tears on your pillow. It comes with waking up and deciding to keep going when quitting would be easier. And see, some of y'all think the pain is a sign to stop. No, the pain is the sign you're on the edge of something greater. The pain means something inside you is shifting. You can't see it yet, but you're becoming stronger. You're learning how to love yourself. You're learning how to say no. You're learning how to walk away from what doesn't serve you. That's not weakness, that's power. Nobody sees the caterpillar struggling inside the cocoon. All they see is the butterfly. But that transformation, that's painful. That's lonely. That's messy. It's not glamorous, but it's necessary. Because if you try to skip the struggle, you rob yourself of the strength. You got to learn to respect your pain. Let it teach you. Let it sharpen you. Let it humble you. Let it prepare you. Because the version of you that's coming out of this, that version is different. That version has boundaries. That version has wisdom. That version doesn't beg, doesn't chase, doesn't fold under pressure. That version walks with confidence because they earned it through fire. So don't fear the pain. Don't numb it. Don't run from it. Just know it's doing something in you. Something that couldn't be done in comfort. Something sacred. Something real. See, a lot of people out here trying to get even. They want to clap back. They want to expose folks. They want to prove a point. But let me tell you something. Real revenge ain't about getting loud. Real revenge is silent. It's you waking up every day and becoming a better version of yourself. Not for them, but for you. Because when you elevate, when you heal, when you shine, you don't have to say a word. Your success will speak for you. People that hurt you, disrespected you, played with your heart. They expected you to fall apart. They expected you to stay stuck. They expect you to stay bitter, stay broken, stay small. But what they didn't expect was for you to get back up and glow. That glow is your payback. That peace in your life, that strength in your walk, that smile on your face after everything they put you through. That's your revenge. Don't waste your time trying to convince people of your worth. Don't waste your breath trying to explain how much they lost when they let you go. That's not your job. Your job is to get up, show up, and grow. Your job is to invest in yourself so deeply that you no longer recognize the version of you that used to cry over people who didn't even know how to love you. That's the glow up. And I ain't just talking about looking good. That's part of it, sure. Take care of your body, wear that outfit, walk in that room like you own it. But the real glow up, that's internal, that's spiritual, that's emotional. It's when you no longer take things personally. It's when you stop overgiving to people who only take. It's when you love yourself enough to walk away from what drains you, even if it used to feel like home. The glow up is when you don't settle, you don't chase. You don't lower your standards because you'd rather wait than beg. You don't force connections that don't flow. You stop asking for closure and start giving yourself peace. That's real revenge because it shows you've outgrown what once broke you. See, people remember how they treated you. They remember the games, the lies, the disrespect. And when they see you now, happy, whole, unbothered, that hits different. That eats at them more than any angry message ever could. Because now they know they lost access to someone rare, someone valuable, someone they took for granted. That's why you don't need to retaliate. You don't need to prove anything. Just keep glowing, keep healing, keep showing up for yourself, keep building that life you don't need to escape from. Because the more you focus on your growth, the less you care about who doubted you. The more you invest in your future, the less time you have for drama. Your glow up will make people uncomfortable, and that's okay. Because when you rise, it reminds them of how they stayed the same. When you set boundaries, it reminds them of how they crossed them. When you start loving yourself out loud, it exposes all the ways they didn't. You don't have to do a thing. Just keep shining. This is why healing is so powerful. Not because it changes the past, but because it changes you. And when you change, the people who were committed to misunderstanding, you won't recognize you anymore. You'll become a version of yourself that they don't have access to, and that's the best revenge of all. The glow up is also about purpose. It's about turning your pain into power, your lessons into leadership, your heartbreak into healing. It's about becoming so aligned with who you are that you no longer crave what broke you. You no longer want what once distracted you from your potential. That's how you win. That's how you get your get back. People who did you wrong will watch you from a distance. They'll see the growth. They'll see the shift. They'll notice how your energy changed, how your standards rose, how your spirit got lighter. They'll try to come back, but by then you'll be too far gone. Not out of spite, not out of pride, but because you finally realized what you deserve. And the truth is, you didn't need revenge. You needed resurrection. You needed to come back to life, to your joy, to your strength, to your purpose. That's what the glow up does. It brings you back to you. Everybody wants that final conversation, that text, that apology, that moment where everything suddenly makes sense. But the truth is, most of the time, closure doesn't come from the other person. It comes from within, waiting on someone to explain why they hurt you, why they left, why they changed, why they lied. That can keep you stuck in a place they already walked away from. You keep replaying it in your head, thinking maybe if you had one more conversation, it would all make sense. But sometimes people can't give you closure because they're not capable of honesty. And sometimes they just don't care enough to provide it. It's a hard pill to swallow, but you have to stop expecting people to finish the story they left you hanging in. They don't have the right words. They don't have the right reasons. And even if they did, hearing it might not make you feel any better. Sometimes the truth would only hurt you more, because when someone chooses to lie, cheat, ghost you, or disappear with no explanation, that is the explanation. Their silence said it all. Their actions gave you more answers than their words ever could. So stop chasing clarity from someone who thrives in confusion. Stop needing people who broke you to be the ones to put you back together. They're not qualified. If they didn't value your heart while they had it, they're not going to protect it now. What you're really looking for isn't closure, it's comfort. You want relief from the pain. You want peace from the confusion. But peace doesn't come from their words. It comes from your decision to stop allowing them space in your mind. You be the closure. You make the call. Not to them, but to yourself. You decide that their inability to love you properly is enough of an answer. You decide that their absence is your clarity. You decide that your healing no longer depends on people who are unwilling to show up for you. That's the moment things shift. When you stop waiting, stop wondering, stop hoping they'll come back just to explain why they left. When you stop needing their validation, you get your power back. And yes, it hurts. It hurts to walk away with questions still hanging in the air. It hurts to never get the apology you deserved. But healing doesn't require their participation. You don't need their closure to begin your new chapter. All you need is to accept that they were part of your story, but not part of your future. Some people come into your life as lessons, not lifelines. And some doors are better left closed, not reopened. When you be the closure, you take control of the narrative. You stop identifying yourself as someone who was left and start seeing yourself as someone who was set free. You stop thinking in terms of loss and start focusing on gain. You begin to understand that the ending wasn't your fault and it wasn't your failure. It was a redirection. You stop needing to understand them and start understanding yourself. What you tolerate, what you deserve, what you will never settle for again. The person who hurt you might never acknowledge what they did. They might never own their part, but that doesn't stop you from owning your healing. You might never hear, "I'm sorry," but you can still forgive, not for them, but for you. Because carrying that anger, that confusion, that longing, it only delays your growth. Letting go is not weakness, it's strength. It's saying, "I don't need your words to move forward. I choose to heal anyway." Closure isn't something you wait for. It's something you create. It's a boundary. It's a decision. It's choosing to end the story in your own way. You might not get a clean ending, but you can create a clean beginning. You might not have all the answers, but you can still write the next chapter. One where you're whole. One where you're not looking back, hoping they'll return with reasons. One where you're grounded in your truth, your peace, your worth. Stop texting, stop checking, stop hoping they'll show up and give you something they never gave you while they were in your life. Respect. That's not your path anymore. You be the closure. You be the one who turns the page, not because it's easy, but because your healing deserves to begin. With or without them, there's a big difference between reaching out from a place of love and begging from a place of lack. When you beg, you hand your power over. You're saying, "I don't believe I'm enough unless you choose me." But when you attract, you stand in your worth. You say, "I know who I am, and I'm not chasing anything that isn't aligned with me." That's not arrogance, that's clarity. That's confidence. That's maturity. Too many people are out here begging for attention, validation, love, loyalty, things that should be freely given. You don't have to force what's real. You don't have to beg someone to see you, love you, choose you. If they wanted to, they would. Begging doesn't lead to love, it leads to resentment. Because the moment you feel like you have to earn someone's bare minimum, you've already lost yourself in the process. Love isn't supposed to feel like a battle for recognition. It's not supposed to be you giving and giving, just hoping they'll finally notice your worth. When you move from a place of desperation, you attract takers, not givers. You attract people who see your value, but choose to use it rather than honor it. That's why begging never works. It tells the wrong kind of people that you'll settle, that you'll stay, even if you're not being treated right. Attracting is different. It's powerful. It's quiet. It's magnetic. It doesn't require loud declarations or constant proving. When you're truly in alignment with yourself, you start to attract relationships, opportunities, and people that match your energy. And the best part, you don't have to chase any of it. You just have to keep being authentic, keep healing, keep growing. Your energy does the rest. Begging creates imbalance. You start walking on eggshells. You start shrinking just to keep someone around. You start questioning your own needs, your own feelings, because you're afraid they might walk away if you ask for too much. But attracting, that's peaceful. That's calm. It's knowing you're enough. Even if someone else doesn't recognize it, it's knowing that what's meant for you won't have to be begged for. It'll come and it'll stay. You can't beg someone into being ready. You can't beg someone into loving you the way you need. You can't beg someone into changing. And even if they give you what you're asking for in the moment, it won't last if it didn't come from them willingly. You want love that's real, that's deep, that's mutual. And that kind of love, it's attracted by authenticity, not desperation. The work isn't in trying to get someone to pick you. The work is becoming so in tune with yourself that you pick you first, that you stop settling, that you stop entertaining half effort and almost love. Because once you stop begging and start attracting, your whole life changes. You realize that you're not too much. You were just asking the wrong people to handle you. You realize that the love you've been giving away so freely is rare, And it should be poured into someone who values it. Attracting means you become more intentional. You stop answering every call, replying to every message, opening your door to every energy. You get selective. You start filtering out what doesn't align with your peace, your growth, your direction. And people might call that cold, but it's not cold. It's clarity, it's emotional maturity. It's knowing your time, your energy, your love. They're valuable and they should be earned, not taken for granted. Begging says, I need you to see me. Attracting says, I see myself. And when you really start to see yourself, your beauty, your strength, your spirit, you stop feeling the need to prove it to anyone else. You stop waiting for someone to tell you you're worthy because you already know. And from that place, you attract everything that matches your truth. You don't have to perform. You don't have to convince. You don't have to beg for basic love. When you operate from a place of self-respect, your energy becomes a filter. The wrong ones fall away. The right ones find you. Not because you chased them, but because you became so grounded in your worth, they had no choice but to meet you there. Not theirs. Not the person who hurt you. Not the people who abandoned you. Not the ones who misunderstood you, betrayed you, or left you in pieces. It's not fair, but it's real. The weight of what they did might not be your fault, but what you do with that weight, that's on you. You can't wait for someone to come back and fix what they broke. You can't sit around hoping they'll return and patch the wound they caused. Most won't. And even if they do, even if they say all the right things, it still doesn't change what you have to do next. You still have to heal. Healing isn't about getting back what you lost. It's about learning how to live without it. It's about learning how to breathe through the ache, how to find peace in the middle of the storm. It's about looking at the parts of you that are bleeding and deciding you're not going to let that become your identity. Because if you're not careful, pain will trick you into believing that broken is who you are. It's not. It's just something you went through, something you survived. The danger in waiting for others to make it right is that you delay your growth, you postpone your peace, you keep your power outside yourself, tied up in someone who may never show up again. But healing, that's when you take the power back. That's when you say, I'm not going to let what they did define me. It's when you choose to clean your own wound, stitch your own heart, and rebuild from the ground up. Healing is messy. It's not pretty. It doesn't always come with progress you can measure. Some days you feel strong, and some days you feel like you're drowning all over again. And that's okay. That's part of it. It's not about pretending the pain doesn't exist. It's about learning to sit with it, to face it, and still move forward. It's about feeling the anger, the sadness, the confusion, and choosing not to become bitter. That's real strength. Nobody can do that work for you. Not your friends, not your therapist, not your next relationship. Support helps, yes. Love helps. But even when people love you deeply, they can't reach into your soul and remove the ache. They can't fight the battles inside your mind. That's your job. And when you finally accept that healing is something you have to own, everything starts to shift. Because now you're not waiting, you're working. You're not blaming, you're building. You're not surviving, you're healing. You'll have moments when you slip back into old patterns, when you want to text them, when you want to beg for closure, when the loneliness feels louder than your progress, and that's human. But even in those moments, there's a lesson. You're learning how to hold yourself. You're learning how to choose peace over chaos, dignity over desperation, self-worth over self-sacrifice. There's a version of you on the other side of the pain that is powerful, a version that doesn't react out of trauma, a version that doesn't settle for crumbs, a version that can love without losing themselves. But you don't get there by waiting for life to hand it to you. You get there by doing the inner work day after day, even when it feels like nothing's changing. You get there by being patient with your own process, by being kind to the broken parts, by refusing to give up on yourself. And sometimes healing doesn't look like joy. Sometimes it looks like setting boundaries that make other people uncomfortable. Sometimes it looks like walking away when everything in you wants to stay. Sometimes it looks like crying on the floor because you finally faced the truth. It's not a straight line. It's a spiral. You revisit the same pain, but each time you meet it with more strength, more clarity, more wisdom. You start to see the difference between healing and distraction, between moving on and moving forward. One is rooted in denial. The other is rooted in self-awareness. Healing means you stop pretending, you stop performing, you start honoring your truth, even when it's hard to face. You learn how to hold space for your own pain instead of begging someone else to do it for you. That's when you grow. That's when you change. That's when the pain stops owning you. Sometimes the loudest response you can give is none at all. You don't always have to react, explain, defend, or prove. Silence is powerful. It speaks for you in ways words never could. In a world where everybody wants to be heard, where everyone is quick to clap back, quick to post, quick to argue, choosing silence is a form of self-control most people never master. It's not about weakness, it's about wisdom. It's about knowing your peace is more valuable than any argument. It's about choosing your energy over their chaos. When someone disrespects you, when they ghost you, betray you, or try to bring you out of character, silence is the answer that echoes. Because silence says, I'm not playing that game. I'm not going to lower myself just to match your dysfunction. I'm not going to waste my breath trying to make you understand something your spirit is not ready to receive. That takes strength. That takes discipline. And that kind of strength, it moves different. It carries a presence. People feel it when you don't respond. They feel the shift. They notice when you stop engaging. And often, that silence speaks louder than any paragraph you could write. You see, people expect a reaction. They thrive off your emotional response. It feeds their ego. It gives them validation. It gives them control. But when you give them nothing, when you fall back, when you go quiet, that confuses them. It frustrates them. Because now they don't know what page you're on. They don't know what you're thinking. And that's where your power lies, in the mystery, in the self-restraint, in the decision to disengage for your own peace. Silence is not passive. It's intentional. It's you choosing to respond from wisdom instead of wounds. It's you deciding that your mental health is more important than proving a point. It's understanding that not everything deserves your energy. Not everyone deserves your explanation. You learn to protect your space by keeping it sacred. You don't entertain every battle. You don't attend every argument. Some people are committed to misunderstanding you, no matter how clearly you speak. So instead of trying to convince them, you just go silent and let your life do the talking. There's clarity in silence. When you remove the noise, the distractions, the drama, you start to hear yourself again. You get back in tune with your intuition. You stop reacting and start reflecting. You don't have to keep repeating your worth to people who never saw it. You don't have to beg people to hear you when you know your voice carries weight. Sometimes you just walk away, quietly, gracefully, with dignity. Silence is also a mirror. When you go silent, you give people space to see themselves, to sit with what they said, what they did, how they moved. And trust me, if there's guilt, if there's shame, if there's any kind of conscience, your silence will be louder than any confrontation. Because now they're left alone with their own thoughts. No defense, no back and forth, just the echo of their own actions ringing in their mind. But here's the thing, you don't choose silence just to get a reaction. That defeats the purpose. You choose silence for you, for your own sanity, for your own healing. You choose it because it's peace, because it's strength, because not everything deserves a front row seat to your emotions. When you know your worth, you no longer feel the need to prove it. You just walk in it. You show it in how you move, in what you no longer tolerate, in how you protect your energy. And silence doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care enough about yourself to stop explaining your value. It means you're no longer willing to hand your peace over to people who don't know how to handle it. You realize that real growth is quiet. Real confidence is calm. It doesn't need a crowd. It doesn't need applause. It just is. You start to attract different things when you operate from that space. Deeper connections, better opportunities, more peace, more clarity. You stop chasing closure, stop begging for understanding, stop responding to disrespect. You stop entertaining what drains you. You stop dancing for validation. Because now you understand that silence is not a lack of response. It's a full sentence. It's your boundary. It's your strength. It's your statement. And the people who need to hear it will. Loud and clear.